All right, welcome to another episode of Second to None. Our SEC guys talking about SEC basketball, and let's get right into this. My name is Chris. I'm hosting the show tonight again while our founder Michael is off serving his country and doing some duty overseas. Um, so glad that he's given me the opportunity to lead this up. With me, I've got our Tennessee guy, Dustin. I've got Arkansas with me and George, and got Kentucky represented by Mr. Faithful, Matt Short. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Man, we are
Fantastic.
we're doing just fine.
So let's jump right into this right off the top. Our first topic tonight is going to be Tennessee and the Vols knocking off the perennial power Duke Blue Devils.
Go Vols.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What a win.
Yeah.
I don't know if you call that an upset.
Man.
So,
to me, that would be an upset.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm going to be honest here. I didn't think there was any way Tennessee could handle the post play of Duke with the twin 7-footers.
Yeah, same.
But what we've learned throughout the entire tournament so far is guard play is what matters. And Duke just did not have the guards to match up with Vescovi and his crew.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the biggest tell of the tape, I mean, was the turnover battle, right? I mean, Tennessee, they had 15. Duke, they had 15 turnovers versus Tennessee only having 9, and then Duke they had 17 fouls versus Tennessee having 11. So Duke had 17. So poor play by Duke on their behalf. On top of that, though, Kamwa, he had 27 points. 27. Best game that he has played all season long. He's been the only player that has started every single game so far this season for Tennessee.
And he had a coming out party today.
Yeah, he really did.
And speaking of the foul situation, a lot of the Duke fouls were from playing behind, like they were step slow and reaching all the time. And, that goes to tell you, if your guards are turning the ball over and you're having to reach and do stuff like that, it's going to get you. And they got.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, you guys know as well as I do, right? I mean, Kentucky, yeah, they handled us. Vandy with us was 1-1 this year. Tennessee has a very good defense. Very good defense. They had
one
several
in the nation for a reason. Yes.
Yeah, they had they had several games that come down to the buzzer, this past season, whether it was Vanderbilt, Missouri, and those teams are tournament teams. Duke had no idea how to handle Tennessee's defense today.
No, they did not.
Nope.
And, kind of the tale of the tape, man. Tennessee's defense, they played aggressive, which was they played smart, and they were able to hit shots when they needed to hit shots. Kamwa was that guy that you need to step up. He was the guy that stepped up today and made those important threes, made those important layups. And, even those dunks, that was kind of a momentum changer when Tennessee was even down a little bit. So, it was really good to see. Anything can happen, because you guys know that. Anything can happen during the tournament. And, I mean, Tennessee, Arkansas today, man, go Hogs. Vanderbilt, NIT, man, good day for the SEC. I don't have the score. What's the score of the Auburn game?
Well, that's a good point.
It's 81-64, Houston.
Oh, Houston's putting it on Auburn right now?
Yeah, it's getting away from Auburn.
Yeah, that's the final score, 81-64.
Oh, my. Wow.
I had Houston taking Auburn, so there you go. Can be mad.
Yeah.
But.
And this kind of gets ahead of topic a little bit. However,
no, and I was just saying, good day for the SEC. All in all,
right? You look at Tennessee, and you look at how that bracket is shaping out. If you're a Tennessee fan, I think you have to feel really good about your chances of
absolutely.
making
Whoa.
about getting to the Elite Eight and maybe running into a Kentucky team and seeing if third time.
Yeah. Tennessee's bracket's looking pretty daggum salty.
Because now they get the winner of Florida Atlantic
Hey, Matt.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
If I'm not mistaken, the former
Hey,
guard from Florida? Go ahead.
What I was going to say is Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes has put on Calipari several times, so we very well could see a Barnes Calipari matchup again. Now, like Chris just said, the third time could be the charm, buddy, when it really matters the most. So I wouldn't take Tennessee too lightly.
Absolutely. You don't take anybody lightly. We know how good Tennessee's defense is. If I'm not mistaken, K-State has a guard that come from, Florida, the transfer that was set out, or he was injured for the last 2 years. I mean, I forget his name. I'm sure Chris would remember his name. But
you said Penn State?
No, he played for Florida. He's been injured for the past couple of years. I mean, like a series of injuries. He's
okay.
Keontae, whatever his last name is.
Not sure who that is.
But anyways, if you look it up, he's been injured for Florida. He had an All-American freshman year at Florida, and I mean, K-State is loaded. They play about the same pace as Kentucky. That both of them average about 75 points a game, give up about the same amount of points.
Right.
If you look at it on, but I mean,
And then we got another team over here that pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the entire tournament today. How about Arkansas literally living up to the name of survive and advance?
Hogs.
Hey, man, listen, that was a gritty, tough, knockdown, drag-out fight from the beginning. I mean, look, I'll just say this. Our season, and y'all know this, from the beginning has not been the best. I mean, we were picked, 10th preseason, I think it was, all this 5-star hype and everything else, losing games we shouldn't have lost, winning some games we should have won but shouldn't have been close. There was not much hope for Arkansas at pretty much at all. And
in a tough conference.
Right, exactly. And going in the into the conference tournament, for them to get the win over Auburn and then just get manhandled by Texas A&M, I'll just say that lightly. I mean, it was a closer than that game, but we were just tired. And I thought, I thought, okay, they have an early out in the conference tournament. Are they going to get enough rest? Are they going to be ready for whoever they're seated against? And guys, this team looks like a totally different basketball team than we've seen all year. I mean, it is insane what I'm seeing.
Without CJ Black playing his best game.
Yeah, Anthony Black.
A lot of these SEC teams look totally different than what they did during tournament play in the SEC. The SEC tournament. I thought Tennessee was going to lose.
Yeah.
I had Arkansas losing to Kansas today.
Me too.
These teams are looking totally. I mean, really.
I am ecstatic that my bracket is busted. I had Kansas going as national champion, and right now I could care less. I do not care. Somebody else can take the first spot. Hey, I was doing really good those first 2 days, but I think I'm about to get wrecked, and that's okay. I'm good with that. We're
Hey,
in the
in my bracket,
That's-
I've got Arkansas going to the Final Four.
Well, I saw that, Matt, and I appreciate the love, but I gotta give 2 shout outs here for this game today. Number one, defense looked phenomenal. We gave up a lot in the first half. Kansas was in the paint. I think it was like 22 points to 10. I think it was in the paint in the first half, somewhere around there. They were hammering us, and the second half came out, and we locked down. And I mean, what a phenomenal game by Devo Davis, a guy that averages 10.3 points for the season, comes out and drops 25 on the number 1 seed. You can't make this stuff up. It's March Madness. And I mean, to see him come out and have his breakout game, the veteran of that squad, one of the veterans, I mean, that is just remarkable. And Kamani Johnson is a baller. That man will shed 5 guys to go up for a rebound. I've never seen anything like it. That man is a rebound machine, and he was fighting them Kansas players off. Oh, man. I knew it was going to be close. I had Kansas winning, but I'm so glad that they lost, and I'm so glad we're going to Sweet 16.
2 keys for Arkansas winning. They hit, 18 out of their 22 free throws? And I mean, Kansas was rattled.
All year, free throws have been a problem for this team, and then in the tournament, of all things, pressure somehow makes us better at free throws. Man,
okay.
I tell you.
And here's something. I've always looked at teams, they have this tournament type personality where the regular season they're not really good, but once they get into a tournament per se, they just flip a switch and it's a different ball game with them. Now, the 2 teams that we've discussed so far, Tennessee and Arkansas, both of them have that look of being a tournament type team that can flip that switch.
Yep.
Now, if Tennessee's got enough offensively to carry him through, with Ziegler being out, you love to see Cumwall coming out today and doing what he did. But at some point you're gonna have to get Vescovi and Triple J and get those 2 guys going offensively.
Yeah.
So
well, let's add to that, because Tennessee, you got Zakai Ziegler out. Imagine what they'd be with him still in there. You got Trevin Brazil out for Arkansas. Imagine what they would be having him in the rotation. I mean, for us to be heading to the Sweet 16 is just, we shouldn't be there, but we are. Right. And that is so incredible.
Yes. Same with Tennessee. I mean, I think almost everybody had Tennessee losing to Duke. Everybody thought that they would win the very first round, right? I mean, everybody thought that Tennessee would go past, but everybody had Tennessee losing to Duke.
Yep.
So for Tennessee to be heading to Manhattan, it's just we've not been to the Sweet 16 since 2019, where we got knocked out by Michigan.
We'll touch on Michigan later in this show. But
no, I mean, right now, just like you said, Chris Vescovi, he's got to step up. Triple J, he's got to step up. I don't know, but Cumwall, man, he had a hell of a day today, and I'm tickled to death. I'm tickled how Tennessee played. Arkansas, man, when it got down to the nitty gritty, excellent. In my opinion, best game of the tournament so far.
Oh,
best game of the tournament.
Hands down.
You seen Musselman out there without his shirt on, I was like, man, that's my coach.
That's Muss. But see, that's the thing. It's like we were talking about. Arkansas is a tournament team. I mentioned Devo Davis. We're not even talking about Illinois, but the man put up 16 on Illinois. Right? He's a 10-point average scorer. Then he puts up 25 on Kansas. This dude is made for the tournament. And if Black starts hitting shots, we all know he can. You got Nick Smith Jr. comes out and starts hitting some shots. Man, they're going to be a tough out. I don't care who they play now. Kansas was the test. That's where I had them be. If they could at least get and put up a game and put up a fight against Kansas, it don't matter who they go against now. And, man, it's going to be fun to see.
All right. And before we move on to our next topic, I'm going to throw a little teaser out there. Think about some breakfast food. But before we get to that, let's have a word from our sponsor, Clutch Sports.
You know what I like? I like to be comfortable. I also love representing my favorite sports teams. And in the Clutch, I am able to have the best of both worlds. In the Clutch Apparel is your one-stop shop for all things sports. They have officially licensed gear from all your favorite teams and players from the NHL, MLB, NFL, and more. They have sports classic tees from yesteryear and beyond. Check out their full website in the link down below. When you enter the promo code Variety Sports, you get 10% off everything site-wide. Feel comfortable with your sports apparel and go over to their website now at intheclutch.com. And don't forget to use our code Variety Sports to get 10% off.
All right. So our next topic, I said think about some breakfast food. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun with this. What cereal best represents your school?
Oh, easy. I got this. Easy. Wheaties all day long. Man, we come in strong. That's it. Wheaties. Arkansas Wheaties.
And it's interesting that you choose Wheaties because it's the breakfast of champions. And just last week, Arkansas just absolutely dominated the SEC in track and field.
True.
So what do you got, Dustin? What represents Tennessee? His internet must be lagging again. What about you, Matt?
I'd say honey nut Cheerios.
Honey nut Cheerios.
The sweet
Why you say
nut.
That? They're sweet.
Because they're sweet, but not too sweet.
Looks like we got Dustin back. Let's see what kind of cereal he picks for Tennessee.
Man, my internet is so bad right now. It's so bad.
It's all good.
Yeah, he froze again.
Oh, mine was bad last week. It was horrible.
So I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna go with some Fruity Pebbles for Vanderbilt.
Fruity Pebbles. What? Why? Explain that one, Chris.
Because you never know what flavor you're gonna get.
I like that. That's good.
So, and Dustin seems to be struggling there. So let's bring up a different tournament. Let's talk about the NIT and the SEC and the NIT. How about Vanderbilt making some waves in the NIT, making it to the Elite Eight?
I told you, Vanderbilt don't make the tournament. They get in the NIT, they win it. I'm sticking to it. They're going to win the NIT.
And we heard Dustin mention Michigan, 2019 earlier. If you remember, they had a freshman on that team, Hunter Dickinson. And he's still there. He played against us today. And really, early on, he didn't show much. He hung around at the top of the key. And all he was doing was setting screens and wasn't really playing offensive basketball per se. Wasn't moving without the ball. But once they got him involved in the offense, he kind of dominated our game. And it wasn't until the last 4 or 5 minutes that Vanderbilt made a change defensively and put Jordan Wright on him, who's a little bit smaller and more athletic. We don't win that game without Jordan Wright. And I wanted to throw this comment up there. about Michigan being without 2 of their starters. Yes, they were missing 2 of their starters, and that's the name of the game at this point in the season.
Yep.
You got to survive in advance.
Yep.
And we were lucky that those 2 starters were out, because I kind of wonder if we advance if they played.
Yeah.
I think Bufkin would have really matched up with Ezra Mannion really well today. Had
It
he
would have
played.
been really tough for Vanderbilt if Michigan was full health, but they weren't. And that's just the nature of the game. So
Nature of the game, you got to survive in advance.
Yep.
We do get the winner of UAB versus Morehead State. And like I was saying with Tennessee, got to feel good about their chances to get past the Sweet 16 into the Elite 8.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Vanderbilt, you got to feel good about your chances to advance to the Final Four of the NIT based on who you match up with.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the winner of UAB and Morehead State.
Mm-hmm.
Morehead State's a team that we've already beaten 79-43 once this year.
Well,
but that could make Morehead hungry too.
Yeah. Well, let's be real, Chris, and I'll say it. You don't have to say it, but I was a strong believer that Vanderbilt should have been in the tournament anyway, in the actual tournament. And so, I mean, they're a tournament team in the NIT. That's how I look at it. And being a tournament team in the NIT, you should get it to at least the Final Four.
And I'm going to quote Jerry Stackhouse, something he said today. He said, "I'm cheering for all of the SEC teams in the NCAA tournament."
Yeah.
He said, because we've beaten a bunch of their butts, and the farther they go, it makes us look that much better.
Yep.
So, and that's something for them to hang their hat on is, hey, we beat a lot of these teams. We should have been in. So, let's go out and prove our case.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting point, because how much of a gauntlet is the SEC, right? I mean, in basketball especially, we know football is a gauntlet. We know baseball, SEC shows up every year in baseball. But it seems like anymore, you talk about the Big 12, you talk about the Big 10, you talk about the ACC in basketball. SEC is one of the toughest places to play, especially when we have to beat the crap out of each other to get to the tournament. And we see it. I mean, the competition level is way high when we play against each other. And then we get in the tournament and play teams that, necessarily hadn't played much at all. And it's tough winning in the tournament, but it's definitely gets us battle tested. And that's what I told Matt earlier today. I said, I know we haven't talked about it yet, but the matchup with Kentucky and Kansas State, Kentucky's battle tested. I don't know how battle tested Kansas State is. And that's I call the SEC, it's the gauntlet. I mean, we literally beat the mess out of each other and hope we're still, have bodies left to go into the tournament. I mean, that's just what it looks like every year. We bring physical basketball.
And something else with the Vanderbilt Michigan matchup.
Yeah.
Liam Robbins, even without being active because of the injury, he's played against Hunter Dickinson. They were both freshmen the same year, and they were both all freshmen Big Ten against each other. So just having his presence with the team and knowing some of the tendencies that Dickinson had was able to help Quentin Meloria Brown, who, this is QMB is a guy that doesn't fill up a stat sheet, but he does a lot of the little things that help teams win a basketball game.
I like Randy's coming in clutch.
Randy firing off the shot at me now.
Hey,
we covering the SEC
whatever.
And we're still alive, so they get covered.
I love it.
And next, let's talk about the SEC going forward.
Mm.
Who do you see from the SEC as having the best chance to advance to the Final Four?
Ooh, we talking about the Final Four already. My Lord. Well, we'll start with Arkansas. I play either St. Mary's or UConn. Both of them are going to be tough. I think I'm hoping that we match up well against either one. I'm not familiar. Are both of those teams really big 3-point shooters? Because our 3-point defense has been a problem all year. Although we did do well against Kansas today, I'll give us that. They didn't shoot very many threes, and when they did, they were heavily contested. And I was like, God, how do they make these threes?
He just makes back-breaking threes against.
I mean, man. But I don't know. Either one of those is going to be tough because I don't know. It depends on how much energy we come out with and how they're going to have to get scrappy. If they keep that scrappy mentality that Arkansas has in the tournament, oh, absolutely, they can go to the Final Four any given day.
I like Randy's answer here. Team we haven't talked about yet. Their game is fixing to get underway. They haven't played yet today. Alabama is definitely with a strong shot to make it based on how their bracket has fallen this week with Arizona getting put out. But I also agree with this. Not mad at Tennessee's matchups because you got to think Tennessee's got to be the favorite against whoever comes out of that FDU or FAU.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a picture today of what was it? Was it FDU that moved on to beat Purdue? Is that who that was?
Yes.
Right. So there was a picture of their gym versus Purdue's gym, what it looks like, and it looks like an elementary school gym versus a humongous coliseum, and it's just like, how did Purdue do that? How did they just come out and just be flat against the smallest team? But
if you look at Purdue, the last 3 weeks, they have not played what you call good basketball. They have really fallen off.
Yep.
They've lost some really games that they should have won. I mean, Purdue has not really played up to expectation. I mean, they got a number 1 seed.
No, well, exactly. And now they have this horrible black mark against them that they are one of the teams in the last 20 years that loses to a 16 seed.
There's only 2 of them. It's Purdue and Virginia a couple years ago.
And both of them came out flat on this tournament.
Yep.
So,
and I have to agree with Randy here. Their wooden ceiling looks kind of cool.
Oh yeah, FDU.
And Randy might understand where I'm going with this comment. The high school I follow in Middle Tennessee is Summertown High School. If you look up Summertown High School Eagles Nest and compare it to the FDU gym, they are almost identical.
Yeah.
The wooden ceiling, they've got, when that gym was built, it was built with wood that was brought over here like in World War II that they used to build it with. Just, and it's small. You can turn up the heat in that thing and run teams out of there. Love that place.
Yeah.
And I see Polly here saying Alabama's going to win the championship.
Yeah, they might.
You have to feel, if you're an Alabama fan, you have to feel good about that possibility.
Yeah.
With the way that bracket has fallen. And I see this comment here that Penn State has taken the lead under 5 minutes to play.
Yeah, I mean, if Alabama relies on 3-point shooting every game, I mean, can you guarantee you're going to knock down enough threes to if you get in this matchup?
That's a great point, Matt. They need to get in the paint and they need to press and they need to be physical.
'Cause this team reminds me a lot of, I don't know, maybe a Rick
Mhm.
Pitino team in the early 90s. They like to launch a lot of 3-point shots, 30+ threes a game.
Well,
Man,
San Diego State is a three-point shooting team too. I mean, they like to spread it out. And I mean, if they can beat Maryland, which they should, then they would play San Diego State, and then I would say there's a really strong chance they go to the Elite Eight, at least. And to answer the question, I mean, of all of us in here, if we're honest with ourselves, who has the easiest road to the tournament? Absolutely, hands down, Alabama, or the final. Absolutely.
Yeah. We normally would say maybe Kentucky, but the reason why I'm saying that is because Kentucky has challenged themselves all year long.
Yep.
They're 22-11?
Mm-hmm.
They're their own worst critic,
Mm-hmm.
You have to put it all together. And I see Chris.
Propeller head.
Yeah, because, Vanderbilt beat Kentucky 2 times this year,
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes
Cody, if you
butt
know,
whooping.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure do. Love it.
So
But
I did send an invitation to somebody. I'll see if he jumps in here and joins us as a special guest. And if he graces our presence, I will be honored. We shall see if he graces and joins in with us.
who'd you invite? Charles Barkley?
No, actually somebody better than Mr. Randy that's over in the comments.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The Tennessee man.
The Tennessee fan.
Another Tennessee fan. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you probably hate Tennessee fans worse than I do.
Probably. I would say Vanderbilt fan hates Tennessee fan more than, Kentucky probably. Depends on who it is.
No, I will be honest. I don't hate all Tennessee fans.
No.
The vast majority, without question. There are some, and they're few and far between, that I actually get along very well with. Randy's one of those. Me and Randy chat all the time. Good dude down in Memphis. But beyond that, I don't really hate on anybody other than Tennessee. So, but again, I also recognize that Tennessee has a really, really good basketball team.
They do.
They're battle tested.
Mm-hmm.
They went through a Duke team that had been playing like they were the best team in the country, and went through them like, I don't think that game was even a contest 90% of the game.
No,
because
Chris,
Tennessee controlled everything in that game.
I think a team that might have a chance to win the whole thing, I'm not going to say Alabama can't, but a team with 9, 10, 11 losses might win the national championship. And I think that there's a lot of quality teams out there left. But for K-State, Kentucky, I think that tomorrow the two quality players that you have to watch out for would be Chris Livingston and Cason Wallace for Kentucky. Those are two guys that are going to have to really play up to their, they've been subpar for the last several weeks. And I feel like Jacob Toppin and Oscar Sheway, they're really, they've played their positions well. But those are the two guys to watch out for Kentucky tomorrow, because Kansas State really will play. I expect it to go down to the wire unless one team just, comes to play very defense.
Well, I think we can all agree, and this is kind of a collective thing, that when it comes to tournament time, crumple up the regular season and throw it in the garbage, because it doesn't matter. I mean, we've seen number one seeds go down. We've seen to teams they should not have. But it's March Madness for a reason. And Let's hope the madness continues.
Or
Okay.
you
So
built on your defense. I mean, that's the thing, your defense and a rebound, and that's the two big keys to winning a ball game.
Making
Rebounding.
free throws.
Yeah.
So let me throw this question out there. How confident are you that the SEC get 3 teams in the Final Four?
Oh, Lord, that's a big ask.
Well, see, that's the thing I predicted: Kentucky, Alabama, and Arkansas in the Final Four. You know,
if you get that right, Matt, that is a lottery pick right there, man. That would be nuts. I would think that's probably the first time that would ever happen is 3 SEC teams in the Final Four.
Along with Texas on the other side.
Ooh, Texas got their hands full.
They do. They might lose tonight.
Yeah, Texas has got their hands full right now. It's last I looked, it was a 1-point game.
Penn State.
2 minutes left, and Texas is up by 3.
Yeah, Penn State.
What this Texas team is built tough. I mean, like
they are.
Anything can happen. It don't matter. Like I said, you can throw the regular season out, but the Texas team, they might as well give this coach that's filling in for Chris Beard. They might as well give him a contract. He deserves it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see because
Sweet 16, he deserves it. If they surpass,
I agree, but guys, we're talking about Texas. Texas is the school that wants to know. They want the name on the. They want the name everybody else wants. That's what they want.
You know what? Well, they got to earn it. This is a football state.
Yep.
They've got to earn it. They're not going to get Calipari. They're not going to get John Calipari. I mean, we might as well write that out. I mean, unless Kentucky's willing to buy him out, we'll see how it goes. I mean,
if we were to get 3 teams in the Final Four, what would that say about the rest of the SEC?
Oh gosh, it would say it would speak volumes. I mean, because the rest of the SEC is what got those 3 teams ready for the Final Four. That's what we play all year long, and like I said, it's the gauntlet. I mean, it speaks volumes to the entirety of the SEC of how tough it is to play in this league. And 20 years ago, I don't think that we could sit here and say that the SEC is one of the toughest leagues to play in basketball. Now, gentlemen, we can sit here and say it is because, it's the gauntlet, and they're proving it. Toughness is winning basketball games. And you said it earlier, guard play is what's winning in this tournament. We've seen that already because
Team Arkansas have proven it.
Right, exactly, and we've proven it. And what it proves is we have moved away in some ways of size being the defining factor of a basketball team. It is not always the biggest team that is going to win. It's the one that wants it more, and the smaller teams that communicate better and can get underneath those big men, it seems to have the advantage. And that is something that I never thought I'd see, is a smaller team whoop up on I don't even remember what they said. I think the average size of FDU versus Purdue was like 6'7" or 6 foot. I think it was 6'7", and the average size of Purdue was like nearly 7 feet because they had 2 of the big 6 foot. One was 6'11" and one's something else. And they just look like they're towering over them, and yet they outplayed them. They looked like they were stuck in mud. Purdue did not look like they were even on the court. And
last night, Kentucky, when they played Providence, there was 2 or 3 guys hanging all over Oscar Tshiebwe. And he kept his composure, and he had 25 rebounds. And Chris, you alluded to this. I mean, something's got to be done from the SEC, and the officiating, but you can only take so much.
Hey,
I mean,
but even still, he's got to maintain his composure when they do that. and he can't just go out throwing elbows like
No.
we've seen examples of it when he played against Q and when he played against Arkansas, where he got frustrated and started swinging elbow. You
Yes.
have to maintain emotional control if you're Seaway, because that can get you in some deep trouble in the NCAA tournament, where one call from an official that's not from your league sets you down for a long time.
Well, and you know what? It speaks volumes because, and I love that comment, SEC officials are garbage. Yeah, I agree with that. The tournament is absolutely showing that. I mean, I don't know how many SEC officials are in here, but these games, at least the two that Arkansas played in, which I am extremely happy about, have been called evenly. Has not been one-sided. If it's a foul, it's a foul. If they're going to call ticky-tack fouls, they're going to call them on both teams. If they're going to let each other hack each other, they're not going to call jack. And I've seen it time and time again through this tournament. And so, I mean, it is – I am so glad to be seeing that officiating seems to not be a defining factor in these wins on any team. And that's why I don't see any I see a little bit of, that may have been a foul, may have been more ball. I mean, there was a few calls in the Arkansas game today where it wasn't a foul. That was a block, but it was a bang play. They called it, but it wasn't the deciding factor. And you didn't have, Arkansas get manhandled on one end of the floor, get the ball stripped away, go down, and then Kansas gets a foul on a ticky-tack little brush of the jersey. I didn't see that today, and I was very thrilled to not see that. So, yeah, kudos to the tournament officials because they're doing a daggum good job. Compared to the SEC, man, it's been garbage all year. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from these tournament officials.
So just going to throw this up there. I appreciate the kind words, Josh. I don't disagree with you. I think they 100% should have been in.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they didn't. So our mantra now is might as well go win the whole damn NIT because, we prove our point. But bringing that up, it brings up a topic for me that I'll die on that hill. The net is broken.
Yep.
I don't need no formula to tell me that head-to-head results don't matter.
Right.
So, and that's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want to draw up a bunch of controversy over it.
I agree.
But
they've
got to come up.
Was Vanderbilt losing to Grambling the offset to them not making the tournament?
No.
Okay.
The loss that got us out of the tournament was losing by 57 to Alabama. We dropped 27 spots in the net with one loss.
You should have. Well, then you should have made the tournament. I think Vanderbilt should have made it.
And to go with, people wanted to say Grambling's a bad loss. Okay, well, they lost to Kennesaw State in the SWAC conference finals. Kennesaw State, as we saw yesterday, took the number 3 seed Xavier to the wire. So is it really bad basketball that they play in the SWAC, or is it just the perception that it's bad because of who it is?
I like Cody's comment. Vandy losing to LSU didn't help, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree. I think if they win that ball game, I think there might be a little bit better of a chance.
Now wait a minute.
That really hurt them.
Now wait a minute. If we're going to punish Vanderbilt for losing to LSU, there was another SEC school that lost to LSU that got rewarded for it. And they're still dancing with a good chance to get to the Elite Eight.
Let me see. Are you talking about me?
I'm not going to mention any names.
You must be talking about Arkansas.
But they might be wearing the colors of red and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Hey, it's the gauntlet. That was a very frustrating loss. So was the Missouri loss.
Yes.
That was a very frustrating loss.
Anytime you lose to Missouri, it's frustrating. I mean,
Tell me about it. And here's a funny thing. I know that we're about to go, what is it, 2024. So in 2025, you got Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, right? And that's when the divisions start changing according to whoever, whatever.
Well, currently we don't play divisions in basketball.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm saying from a whole, because in football, for instance, our rivalry for years has been LSU, and then all of a sudden, somebody decided to make it Missouri, which we in Arkansas call a forced rivalry, which we don't. It's like, okay, cool. They made a trophy and they wanted to do a rivalry. That's fine, but we got the Battle of the Boot, and then we also have A&M. But it seems like we're not going to play LSU, and that's unfortunate because I'm a diehard LSU hater. Sorry, Cody. But anytime in Cody an LSU fan, I don't remember if he is or not.
Yes, Cody's an LSU fan.
Yeah. So LSU was hot when they got that W. You're right.
So not to tip the hat or anything, but
yeah.
George, you might want to watch the game that's being played in the other half of your bracket right now, because UCLA had a nice little lead at halftime that has pretty much evaporated.
Oh, what the heck? Man, I tell you, top seeds
Northwestern
are just
out
left
of
and right. Good Lord.
Yeah, Northwestern out of nowhere has closed that game up quick.
well, it don't matter who you got to play. It's just you got to make sure you're playing your best game of the year and you're being the best version of yourself you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, tomorrow at 1:40 p.m., Kentucky is going to try to advance to the Sweet 16. I mean, and both teams average about 75 points a game. You know, they give up about the same amount. You know, can you play your best game? That's the key. I mean,
right.
Tennessee, Arkansas. I mean, they've advanced. I mean, two teams that from the East and the West that were ranked in the top 10 earlier in the year. I mean, Tennessee was ranked preseason in the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Arkansas was ranked right inside the top 10. I mean, Kentucky was right in between them. I mean, it's how you play your best. Play your best game of the year. I mean, that's
it. I mean, neither one of us had dynamite seasons. I mean, Kentucky's used to winning 25 a year. It's usually y'all's magic number. Arkansas is, if we hit 20, it's a good year, and we finished the regular season at 19. So it depends on when you're playing your best ball, and it seems like Arkansas finally figured out how to play basketball at the end of the year during the tournament. And I hope Kentucky keeps going.
Kentucky's 18-0 when leading at halftime, and
I'm just saying Kansas was, I don't remember what number it was in when leading at halftime, and we broke that streak. So,
like I said, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying, a couple of players, making shots, but you got to play defense. I mean, Kentucky shot 20% in the second half against, Providence, and Bryce Hopkins. He lost. I'm sure it was a big loss to him. Because it would have been a big win for him. But Jacob Toppin won that matchup against him, and
and as we get ready for wrapping this thing up,
47-0. Thank you. 47-0 leading at halftime. That was the record we broke today, gentlemen.
Wow.
47-0.
Yes.
So let's have another word from one of our sponsors, Roll One Brand. If you into authentic things, you might want to take a listen to this ad, and we'll come back and we'll wrap things up here in just a minute.
Let's be honest, you're here because you love sports. We love sports too. And our friends over at Row One Brand love sports as much as we do. Row One Brand sells sports wall art, sports gift watches, and vintage apparel with ornamental designs created from real game ticket stubs and vintage sports memorabilia in their collection. If you want some vintage Golden State Warriors memorabilia, they have that too. It's a sports collector's dream website for anything sports related. Go over to row1brand.com to check out their great inventory. And when you use the promo code VSP15, you'll get 15% off any item on the whole site. That's code VSP15 for 15% off any item on the site. So click on the link below and go check them out. Row Run Brand, America's best vintage sports art, sports gifts.
All right. They got some really nice stuff over there. I don't know if you've ever looked at their website or not, but that's some really good stuff. And I'm going to have to start getting some stuff from them. So
Love it.
Going forward, if you had to pick one SEC team for the national championship, can you pick them?
Oh, that's a tough task. Oh, just because their road seems like it's super ridiculously easy, and not to mention they're the most healthy, I'd say Alabama. Alabama is the favorite. It pains me to not pick Arkansas, but they got a tough road. But Alabama, if I'm honest with myself, unbiased opinion, it is 100% Alabama all the way.
What about you, Matt? Who you got?
Well, of course, you know who I'm going to say, Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky could meet Alabama in the Final Four. You know, it's going to be a tough job, you know, but this would be one of John Calipari's, you know, he would earn his $9 million a year, you know.
Well, that's fair. And I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to put a bullseye on somebody.
That you gonna put? Oh my gosh!
Based on what I'm seeing right now, I think the Arkansas path is going to get a lot easier. Northwestern is actually tied with number 2 seed UCLA right now.
Man.
And they've outscored UCLA 20-10 in the second half. That game seems to be trending their way. That frees up that bracket a lot for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yes, there's still Gonzaga in there, but you got to feel like you've got a team that can handle them.
Yep.
You know, Tennessee, they've got to get through Kentucky. Kentucky's got to get through Tennessee. That makes it tough. And right now,
Kentucky's got to get by K-State first, you know. I mean,
and that's another one, K-State, that has beaten Kansas State and looked really, really good at times in the Big 12. And actually, Alabama's losing right now to Maryland.
I mean, you cannot
in a low scoring, and that's a low scoring game right now. If they can keep that score low, Maryland has a real chance right there.
Yeah, boy, it is. It's
so
low.
I'm going a different route. I'm going to say I think Arkansas might have the best path.
Oh, it's so hard for me to say that, though. It is so hard for me to say that because it's just really hard for me to say that. Because I don't want to jinx anything. But if I'm honest, let's do this. So I'm looking at the bracket right now. Let's say Northwestern pulls it out from UCLA. They would win, or they would play either Gonzaga or TCU. Whoever would beat that, and that's kind of TCU is a tough basketball team, and I think that game tomorrow, Gonzaga and TCU, that's going to be a good one.
TCU could shoot the ball. They love to shoot the three. Well, I mean,
and here's the thing: Gonzaga and Kansas are really a close. They're like a mirror team of each other. They play very similar. They're really deep in the paint. They want to get in the paint, but when they need to shoot a three, they will.
Gonzaga, they will give you shots. If you have to be willing to make shots. If you can make shots against Gonzaga, and which Kentucky wasn't able to at the time because they.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, that St. Mary's and UConn scare me because I don't know what to expect on that. I don't know if we have the same intensity, then I think, possibly, but man, those are two really good shooting teams. I was sitting there looking over their percentages, and my God, you're going to have to have a shutdown defense to have any shot with them. But we'll say we pull it out with them, move on to the Elite Eight, and they meet Gonzaga. I mean, that comment right there, and Gonzaga is overrated. You just can't touch Drew Timme. Yeah, well, is it because he's an old man, or is it because the refs keep him from getting?
He's pretty mobile for his. He's
for his
good.
age, for a rival age of 56 years old. Yeah, boy, he is.
50, I thought he was 73.
He might be as good as the quarterback.
Yeah, bless. You shut him down and you got a chance. So, if they knock off UCLA, I mean there's your path. But man, I do not want to get ahead that far.
Don't sleep on UCLA.
Yeah. They got to protect I love that comment. The refs, for sure, they got to protect the oldest guy on the court. Yes. Yeah, it's so funny because I know he's not that old, but my God, does it feel like he's been in the league for 25 years?
I thought 2 years ago he was going to turn pro.
Me too.
When they had the number one team in the country and made the run to and who did they get beat by? UCLA beat them.
Well, when you're in the WAC,
and then we beat them a year before that.
Well, he keeps all of his players. It ain't like coming to some of your bigger and better schools. I mean,
no. Well, is Drew Timme if he goes to another team? That's my question, because I think that's the secret as to why Gonzaga still has Drew Timme, because I don't think Drew Timme is Drew Timme unless if he doesn't play for Gonzaga. I'm sorry. That's why he didn't go pro. That's why he hadn't done nothing. I don't see him doing anything except in Mark Few's Gonzaga.
So and looking forward, we'll definitely be back here next Saturday night. By that time, half of the Final Four will be set.
Oh my gosh!
We're not going to go Monday
night. We may do something Monday night to review the entire Sweet 16. Just depends on what everybody's doing Monday night, what our schedules are. If not Monday night, most definitely Saturday. A lot of basketball to talk about. Of course, you still got Vanderbilt in the NIT. You've got all of these SEC teams still left in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Got a couple that still haven't played to get to the Sweet 16, but I think Kentucky's got a good shot.
Yeah. I think they match up with Kansas State pretty good. I was looking over it earlier.
Can you make shots? That's the thing. You got to really watch this Kentucky team. I mean, they might start out good, but like in the SEC tournament, when I went and watched Kentucky and Vanderbilt, God, Vanderbilt, when they started making shots and Kentucky just stood around and just, well, Chris can tell you. I mean, when they just started just letting them, make shots, just from nowhere,
Right.
Hey, so before we leave, I see that, I don't know if you saw this or not, Chris, but Ken, I think we need to have a moment of silence for him. He's riding a bull for the first time tonight, so let's all have a moment of silence and go ahead and get some prayers up for him because we'll need it.
Do you think the bull is going to treat Mr. Kenneth the way Houston treated Auburn tonight?
Yeah, that was a bloodbath.
And I'll say it. Shots fired.
I mean, it's Houston. They should have absolutely wiped the floor with them. So Auburn or not. So
all right. I want to throw a huge shout out to all the people that have been commenting tonight. We love the interaction with people watching us. Next time we're on, feel free to comment and give us your thoughts. We love the interaction. As you've seen, sometimes we will share your comments on here.
Yep.
And, it gives us direction on what to talk about. And with that, for Matt and George, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night for everybody, and we'll see you again either Monday night or Saturday night.
Go
sounds
Cats.
good. Thank you, guys. Go Hogs.
Anchor down.